Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. As a young child, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, my first foray into my now love of combat sports started with the WWE, or as it was called back then, the World Wrestling Federation. During that era, the WWF was known for its risk-taking, offensive, and trailblazing content, and from 1997 to 2002, this time frame was dubbed as the lesser extent ECW, out of business. As a kid, I remember the zany and outrageous storylines involving charismatic superstars such as The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Mankind, The Undertaker, and a whole host more. The main feature of the era that got me into wrestling as a kid would of course be the hardcore elements. Superstars such as the Hardy Boys and Mankind would perform almost death-defying stunts on what felt like a weekly basis, captivating audiences across the globe. Who could forget Mick Foley being thrown off a cage during a Hell in a Cell match, only then to fall through the announcer's table, then, despite serious injury, continuing the match, before then being chokeslammed through the top of a cell, falling several feet into the ring. The match caused very real injuries to Mick Foley that night, including a concussion, a dislocated jaw and shoulder, bruised ribs, internal bleeding, puncture wounds, and several teeth knocked out, one of which protruded through his lip. You can even see this during the match. Although wrestling is scripted, the athletes of the Attitude Era were essentially glorified stuntmen, putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. As the years progressed, and years after the WWF's rebrand to WWE, the product became increasingly safe and sterile, focusing on more of a family audience, more so than the type of fans cultivated during the Attitude Era. I lost touch with wrestling in and around the mid-2000s myself, due to the increasingly dull superstars, dull storylines, and lack of holy shit moments. I then became more interested in quote-unquote real combat sports, such as boxing. Back in the day, in the late 90s and early 2000s, wrestling was more akin to punk rock, whereas in more recent times, it's been more akin to safe corporate pop music designed by algorithmic formulas to reach the masses. Regardless, that being said, the WWE has still been no stranger to controversy, whether that be due to the conduct of its athletes, the conduct of Vince McMahon the boss, as well as the treatment of some of its stars, and even the fans. One such instance of controversy, however, that many of you may not be aware of, would be the Thunderdome incident. Who would have thought we'd get a WWE Gore crossover? The WWE Thunderdome was a biosecure bubble created in order to continue production of events during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was launched in August of 2020 as a way for professional wrestling fans to attend WWE events virtually during the pandemic. The bubble was a video conferencing crowd system and arena staging utilised for broadcasts of television shows and pay-per-views of the promotion's Raw and SmackDown brand divisions. It worked by users signing up days before an event, logging in, and joining at their allocated call time to be seen on screen at the event in real time. It was free of charge to spectate an event. In principle, it was an innovative idea which allowed fans to still feel part of the events, despite not being able to attend in person. However, the concept came with its own problems. Trolls would very often tune into live WWE events, and instead of streaming themselves watching the show, they would stream a variety of troll material, sometimes innocent fun, however other times displaying edgelord type content, such as showing footage of former wrestler Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit and his history was buried by the WWE following the tragic Benoit family murder case, where Chris murdered his wife Nancy as well as his 7-year-old son Daniel, before then ending himself. The Benoit case in and of itself is a video in its own right, but the case opened very uncomfortable conversations surrounding the WWE and the professional wrestling industry at the time, such as the prevalent steroid use of wrestlers and the effects of CTE on their brains. Other trolls would also livestream footage of KKK rallies as well as other various controversial figures, and one individual even used a toy gun to mimic deleting himself. However, the trolling would eventually take an even darker turn. On the 24th of August 2020, during a live broadcast of Monday Night Raw, the show was running as expected. However, eagle-eyed viewers noticed a disturbing sight on one of the live fan portals. The live portal showed a disheveled figure, beaten and battered, on his knees at the feet of a mysterious man carrying a razor-sharp machete. What was shown was the start of a well-known execution video that was released a couple of years prior. Thankfully, WWE programming managed to catch the incident and switched cameras before the execution was actually broadcast to millions of fans across the world, including children. Regardless, the footage that was shown was haunting and a big blunder by WWE programming, to say the least. Following the incident, it became a big topic of conversation within the online wrestling community, and the story was even picked up by some mainstream news outlets, though it was described as a terroristic clip more so than a cartel video. One could argue the semantics, but ultimately they are two separate things. The clip, which was partially broadcast to millions, was a well-known execution by a Mexican criminal gang known as Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion, or CJNG for short. For new viewers, CJNG are considered to be the most violent cartel in Mexico at this present time, and are the second or first biggest cartel in the country, depending on who you ask. They are led by one of the most wanted men in the world, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, more commonly known by his alias, El Mencho. CJNG over the years have been known for the dissemination of extremely brutal videos, and during the time of the Thunderdome incident, CJNG were at their height when it came to uploading such videos. From 2018 to 2021, CJNG released a series of graphic videos showcasing sicarios dispatching members of rival cartels in extremely gruesome ways. Of course, this is a propaganda tactic to instill fear in the hearts of their rivals, law enforcement, and anyone who goes against them. During this timeline, CJNG released some of the most graphic cartel videos ever seen, notably videos such as Ghost Rider, where they burned the entire face and scalp of a captured victim until he resembled a red talking skull, as well as a video dubbed Sponsored by Adidas, where a sicario, donning an Adidas cap, cut open the chest of a captive, before then slicing a part of his lung off with a combat knife, then eating the piece of organ flesh. At the time, it felt like CJNG were releasing a video every month, each time trying to outdo their own levels of depravity shown in the previous videos. The video that was nearly broadcast on live WWE TV was a more standard cartel video, still extremely cruel and violent, but not at the same level as the prior mentioned videos. I'd still argue, however, that the video is still actually one of the most well-known clips released by drug cartels, and if you, like me, are into researching Mexican drug cartels, I'd say it's impossible that you haven't seen the haunting still images of this video, even if you don't watch such content. The images from this video in particular are actually pretty common online. Before we get into discussing the clip, I actually wanted to address a couple of rumours surrounding it. The first being that it was allegedly perpetrated by CJNG. I've seen this claim attributed to the clip all over the internet, and it could certainly be true. However, the only thing that makes me doubt this ever so slightly is the fact that the clip itself was actually recorded in the state of Tamaulipas. Tamaulipas is not known as a CJNG stronghold, and the state is currently controlled primarily by splinter factions of Los Zetas and the Gulf Cartel, and they have been responsible for the vast majority of violence in the state in recent years. Cartel Jalisco have had some light presence in the area, forging potential alliances with some of the splinter factions operating in the state, though there is a chance that this clip isn't from CJNG at all, and that it may have been mistakenly attributed to them. Furthermore, one piece of blatant fake news surrounding this clip is to do with the victim himself. On various forums as well as on social media, I've seen the victim being falsely identified as a TikToker named Illuminati6. Illuminati6 went viral in 2020 following a video uploaded to the social media site where he berated and insulted CJNG leader Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes. In the video, Illuminati 6 states, "Listen to me, you motherfucker. El Mencho, you can suck my dick 100%. I'm not afraid to say it. I can say it here and off camera. El Mencho, suck my dick. I'm immortal, untouchable, and I made a pact with the devil." Shortly after the video went viral, Illuminati 6 then made a grovelling apology video stating his regret at insulting El Mencho, claiming that he didn't mean anything by it and that he respected the CJNG boss. Without a doubt, behind the scenes, I'm sure Illuminati 6 was threatened by CJNG associates, hence his apology, though he clearly isn't the victim in the video. Illuminati 6 was not even residing in Mexico. Instead, he was living in the USA, in the state of California, plus the time frames don't match up. Insulting Mencho can come at a price, as was the case with an influencer named El Pirata de Culiacan, who also insulted El Mencho, and would end up being taken out by CJNG hitmen. But I find it highly doubtful that Cartel Jalisco would organise the killing of a US-based TikToker. Ultimately, it would draw heat upon their organisation. I'm sure they threatened Illuminati 6, though I find it doubtful that they would have acted upon these threats. Regardless, as mentioned, the man in the video is not the TikToker who insulted El Mencho. But nevertheless, what happens in the video that was nearly broadcast to millions of people? The clip in question is exactly 1 minute and 7 seconds in length. The clip itself came out in 2018. As you play the video, you are met with a sight of the victim, and it's a sorry sight. The captive can be seen kneeling on the ground. He's been stripped down to his boxers, and his head is being held up by the hair by a Sicario who is standing menacingly behind him. The Sicario is wearing jeans with a camo jacket, and he has a variant of an AK hanging on his chest held up by a shoulder strap. In his right hand he is carrying a new looking machete, and of course, new machetes are razor sharp. The setting is eerie. It seems to be in a rural location, possibly in a half-completed building.
Okay, I'm honestly not gonna, he almost showed the whole video. Let's not go to that point. Disturbed reality, you technically just showed the whole video almost. Hell, you could have gotten demonetized for that shit. I'm not gonna lie, because that's not okay. Anyways, look, you don't know or need to go into a whole video with this shit. Just talk about what happened with WWE. So I'm gonna say this. He may give them credit where it's due, but the fact that he even mentioned trolls were constantly coming in, posting shit, showing videos and stuff inappropriately. See, that's the thing about Zoom calls. That's how I feel about them. So, let me tell you guys a story about Neusxanity going into college. So, every time when I think about an online class, I always feel like my education would get disturbed. Why? Because there were trolls like that who thought it would be funny to post inappropriate things and disturb the class. Now see, people who are truly, and when I say truly, trying to get an education out there, and those who really cannot get money or get anywhere out, get anything out there, and are really trying to make a career for themselves, that kind of disturbs the learning process of anyone. Now, my thoughts are going towards the fact that some idiot, and it was not CJNG, it was not the cartel who posted that video. It was some asshole who thought it would be funny to post that video on WWE by traumatizing people and children. No, children. Now, I'm going to let you guys know, these are the same motherfuckers that, you know, they're all for the military, they're all for defending their country, but yet they'll post some fucked up shit like that. You tell me, would a Marine approve of this type of behavior? Seriously, would a Marine approve of this type of behavior? Like, the fact that there's people trying to show gore just to traumatize someone, you gotta really ask yourself, what type of monster are you? Because there's two types of monsters. So there's a monster that has a conscience and doesn't just go on a rampage and kill everything in front of him. And then there's those monsters, those little imps, that have this obsessive fetish with killing random innocent people or showing random innocent people being killed on screen. Now the thing is, I had to say this is just someone being irresponsible on WWE's end. Because at this point, as soon as you saw that video, you should have cut him off in particular. You could have kept it at the angle, but just cut him off real quick and slide someone else in. In fact, someone like that needs to be charged with a new type of crime of intentionally assaulting people's memory. That's what it should be called. Assaulting memory. Because at that point, you're trying to give them this mental negative image of how the world looks like. That's what gore is. So let me tell you guys something about gore and truth. The thing about gore is that it is made to corrupt your mind. Disturbed reality doesn't realize this, but as he continues watching these types of videos, he slowly loses his humanity and his empathy as it goes on. No offense to the guy, maybe he doesn't give a shit, but I'm noticing something about your voice, and I've been listening to it for quite some time. You kind of sound devoid of humanity when you talk. Now, what the fuck does that mean, Neusxanity? What in God's earth do you mean that he sounds devoid of humanity? When you watch gore, you start laughing at things you're not supposed to be laughing at. I'm telling you right now, there's still a Reddit page that literally still posts gore in a sense. But they try to keep it under wraps, and they're smart enough to do it. I wouldn't show the page because we can instantly get flagged for a violation. So I'm just going to talk about it here. And that page usually contain not just gore, people getting hurt by accidents or car crashes. It contain gore, but sometimes people being flayed alive. Cartel shit, military shit, all that. And the moderators would not actually moderate this shit. Just note that they don't really moderate the morbid disgustingness of that fucking forum or subreddit, whatever you want to call it. They never really moderate it. It just goes out of control. It's for people who have this gore fetish who want to lose their humanity. And I believe this. Gore is the start of creating a killer. It's the recipe to create a monster that will eventually in the future end up hurting someone else. So the more people who are curious onlookers, right? Since everyone's just a curious onlooker, the more you're curiously watching it, the more you're proving to everyone how sick and depraved you are. And it slowly seeps in. It's just like, how do I say it? It's like someone is injecting fucking needles in your arms, your legs, your brain, your body. That's how it is. And you get sucked in. And it's like the gore videos, they take something from you. And you'll never get it back either. Like I said, the only thing I can remember is it takes a portion of your humanity. Your humanity gets taken. Your empathy gets taken. The more you watch that shit, you start to lose feelings. Thank God I pulled out. I almost got sucked in. That's the excuse right there, is a morbid curiosity. Morbid curiosity means I'm going to become a killer in the future. That's just how it works. You can say whatever you want, that I'm just a curious viewer. No. It'd be one thing if you're watching true crime, because you're trying to study crime. You're trying to study how it operates, how it starts. But gore? That's not a steady field, people. That's you trying to make an excuse to hate reality. So then you're gonna hurt every human in front of you. Why do you think those school shooters, right? Why do you think those school shooters got the motivations? Because they kept watching gore. That motivation from gore pushed them to believe that human lives are worthless. That's what it tells you. You watch that shit and you believe human lives are worthless, pathetic beings that need to be killed over and over and over again. That's how it works with gore. Look guys, I'm going to end this video off. I strongly suggest, if there's some sort of weirdo troll, block them. If someone's spamming shit in your Instagram algorithm with gore, block them. Twitter, block them. Reddit, block them. Repeat the same fucking process on every social media platform. People are literally trying to intentionally corrupt innocent minds just for the fuck of it. That's how evil these curious onlookers are doing. That's how evil they are. And the law is not going to punish them, because what can you really do? Someone's going to get corrupted by this shit. Thank God it was stopped. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Hi, I'm Lucy Christian. I am the voice of Otako Uraraka, and you should subscribe to Neusxanity's channel. Peace out!